Hipper here. So this video here is for people who want to up their win rate a little bit, and the same with the Z-39 video from yesterday, because like you can see, getting victories in these destroyers here is a lot easier than in most other ships. So we'll just have a look at Z-35 here, and this is with the Lutjens build, which is a full hydro build. So again, we have Bay and Swirsky as inspirations to keep the concealment down. And we have Burn It Down to give a better fire chance. And then we have Expose, gives us a much better sonar detection range. Then we have the Lutjens, you can pick anything in this line really. And then we have Acoustic Chamber for a faster reload time, longer duration, and an extra sonar. And we get an extra sonar and an extra smoke by choosing fully packed. So on the ship we have aiming systems, we have steering gears, and then of course we have the concealment mod. So nothing out of the ordinary there. So that gives us 3 smokes and a wonderful 4 hydros here with 5 kilometer range, or almost 5 kilometer range on both torpedoes and ships. A longer duration, a shorter reload time, and we have, like I said, 4 of them. And we look at the concealment here, we're down to 5.3. So really, we're only giving up 300 meters to get this build here. And we have nearly 40 knots, and the rudder is 3.5 seconds, but that doesn't really matter at all on these ships here. So let's take it out. So like I mentioned a few times now, these destroyers here, they have a 5 kilometer sonar range for detecting other ships, and with my builds they also have a 5 kilometer torpedo detection range. So in this case here we are up against another German destroyer, but obviously we out sonar him, and I don't even have to keep him spotted. I can just sit here in peace and quiet behind my rock and cap while I'm keeping him spotted until he reaches 5 kilometers. Once he reaches 5 kilometers, that also means that he's out of the cap, and I'll try to just pop out a little bit and see if I can't keep him. Unfortunately, he disappears, but such is life. So we just continue on capping here. This B cap here on shards is one of the most hated caps in the game, because it is so hard to actually get it, and it's really hard to take it back once one of the teams has actually claimed it, because anyone on the map can reset you while you're in here, unless you are of course in smoke or you are a destroyer. So that's why I put all effort into taking the cap first, and then we'll deal with pretty much everything else after. So the cap is ours now, and as you can see, I have 5 kilometer warning from these torps here, so I have nothing to worry about. Just see if we can't get a nice hit on that New Mexico there, and then obviously this Nuremberg here is a problem, so we'll just smoke up, and that makes him not a problem. So really a hydro that gives you 5 kilometers or 4.7 kilometers to be exact warning on torpedoes. It pretty much renders torpedo completely useless, because even the slowest battleship will have enough time to avoid torpedoes in that case, just like the guy here behind me. Obviously he also saw the torpedoes coming from 5 kilometers away, and he had plenty of time to adjust his course. So do not underestimate that part of the hydro build, because that is really, really important. I mean, I'm a destroyer, it doesn't matter so much to me that I have 5 kilometer warning on torpedoes. Of course it's nice, I'm not going to complain, but I'm fairly nimble, so I don't really need that long. But for battleships, it is the difference between getting maybe 1 or 2 torps and getting no torps. So it's very, very useful, especially if you hook up in a division with this game here, or this ship here, sorry. But also as a solo player, like I've said a few times now, these are, in my opinion, some of the best destroyers to play to carry teams, because like your utility is just so wonderful, and they're also really tough. They're hard to get rid of, these destroyers here, when you finally get to shoot at them. And the only problem is just the damage output from these destroyers themselves is a little bit lacking if you can't get to torp the other destroyer. So you are, to some degree, like relying on your team to help you take out a destroyer that you spot. But usually that's not a problem. So if we take a moment here and think about the next update, where we are going to get two additional hydro-equipped destroyers, and they both have a minimum of 5 kilometer range. Lutjens actually has 5.4 or 5.6, I think. I can't remember, it's one of those. Of course, you cannot put this build on those ships, at least not yet, because we don't have any pan-European commanders other than Swirsky, and we don't even have any pan-Asian commanders yet. And I'm kind of assuming that the pan-Asian commander will be a destroyer commander. So of course that's kind of a shame, because it really limits the build on these two new ships, because everybody will be running the same commander with probably the same inspirations and probably the same perks as well, which just hampers the diversity of the play, I guess. So I think Wargaming really needs to hurry up a bit and give us the rest, or at least another 2 or 3 commanders for each pan nation or nations, because just having one is a little bit boring. And it's been a problem with Bliskovica the whole time, because you've only had Swirsky to put on that ship, so everybody has the same build, so you know exactly what to expect when you run into one, and that's less fun, I think. But these things here, these tier 6 German premium destroyers, I promise you, no one expects a full hydro build on these things here, and no one expects that you have 3 smokes and a wealth of hydros. So you can really make some quite surprising plays, which is always fun, and that's why these ships are so much fun to play. And it doesn't hurt, of course, that they are some of the best carry ships in the game, especially if you are a solo player. I just ordered my new stats from Wargaming, because I've been playing these ships here for quite a while now. I don't know. I probably have 40-50 games in each of them. I don't know, something like that. So I just want to see how well I'm actually doing, because it's certainly a lot better than playing cruisers as a solo player. But yeah, when I get the data, I'll have a look at it. So here in a minute you'll see why these ships here are just so good, and why they are my favorite destroyers. Because obviously the Mars here is also equipped with Hydro, so that's why I'm slowing down and popping smoke now, because if I can stay outside of his Hydro range while still being able to Hydro him, that's where these ships here just totally rule the seas. And we're about at that moment now, or maybe he doesn't have a Hydro, I don't know. But in any case, I can keep him spotted until 4.7 kilometers. No, 5 kilometers actually. So there's a huge window for just delivering blows to this guy here without him being able to do anything. And should he even fire torps, I will be able to see them immediately at this distance here. So there's really, yeah, it's just unfair really. So the last destroyer on the red team has used this time here to start capping B. So obviously we'll have to do something about that. But there's not really any rush. We're at 540 points, and just seeing if I can't get a fire or 2 on this battleship here before heading in. And also I don't have a smoke ready at the moment, so it makes more sense to sit here for the moment, for the time being. Even if he caps, all that means is he's going to go somewhere else, and that leaving the cap available for me to take very, very easily. So we are heading in now, and like I said, he's still in the cap here, I just have the last few seconds of my wonderful 5 kilometer hydro here to tell me that. And that means that he uses a smoke. And that is wonderful, of course, because I just need to wait for my sonar to come back. And at the same time, I'm keeping this cap here, so he doesn't get any points for it. And of course, torps are going to come around this corner any minute now. So we'll also just wait for that. And the 25% reduced waiting time for your sonars is also very, very useful. It cuts down the waiting time between your sonar bursts by a lot more than you'd actually think it would. And of course, that is one of the huge perks of using Lutjens, because you actually get the uptime extended as well by 5% instead of giving up 50%, which you would do with Bay, should you choose his hydro skill. So here are the torps, and of course it's a Russian Bovoy or whatever it's called that we are facing. So he should be able to outgun me. So that's why I want to wait for my hydro here. Like I said, there's no rush. We are way ahead on points and there's no immediate threats around to my team. So patience is a virtue here. So we got the smoke ready now in just a few seconds, and then we'll get the hydro going. And someone actually spots him before me, which is quite surprising because I was just expecting to head in there with the sonar on and make life, well, miserable for him basically. But yeah, this makes it easier for me, and I get to keep my smoke and my sonar. So this is one of the only situations where I actually prefer the Z-35 over the Z-39, and it is just because it has a much faster firing rate basically, and it's easier to put pressure on enemy destroyers. Because if you're in the Z-39 and for example you're only firing your one front gun, I know it has 2 barrels, but it's hard to seem, you know, frightening enough to scare off enemy destroyers quickly. Although when you hit with those guns it hurts a lot, but I still prefer the guns on Z-35. But like I said, Z-39 gets a speed boost, which allows you to get into position much quicker, which in my opinion is much more important. Some of you have asked me to take out the ZF6, the tier 7 German destroyer that was a campaign prize a few months back, I think, but I won't, because I don't particularly like that ship much, and I actually sold it because it doesn't have an hydro, and a German destroyer without a hydro to me is, yeah, not useless, but not very useful, let's put it like that. Especially when I prefer the play style that I'm having here in the Z-35 and the Z-36. And add to that the fact that a ZF6, being tier 7, will face a lot more radar cruisers than you will here at tier 6. So like it's really a no-brainer. If you want to like up your win rate, and well, then these are the best ships for it, I think. And again, that's also why when you look at the overall win rate of a player, it really tells you nothing. If I had played all my 10,000 battles in these 2 destroyers here, I don't know, my win rate, but it would be much higher than it actually is, because I play mainly cruisers. So again, what we need is to be able to break down our stats on a per ship level, and then be able to filter on division battles or solo battles, and even better to filter on like 2-player divisions, 3-player divisions. And it would also be very, very nice if we could filter on maps, because I'm very excited to see which maps I actually do better on. I have a pretty good idea which ones, and I'm also very interested in seeing if I do better in domination or capture the base battles. And I'm pretty sure I do better in domination, but no way of knowing, so hopefully we'll get that at some point. Anyway, that was Z-35 with a full hydro build. So that's the build I use, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you out there.